Welcome to the You Did This for Why podcast, the only podcast that remembers when Cat Williams got his ass beat by that teenager. I'm C, coming to you from a Mississippi McDonald's parking lot, and with me today is my co-host, as always.
I'm G, and I still don't think Mike Vick should have made those dogs fight.
I still agree with that, G. I do. I just wanted to say that we appreciate everybody and all the support, and just thanks to everybody that subscribed. As you can see, we're just starting here, and that early support means so much to us. Something me and G are passionate about, and I think it's only going to get better, and we're happy you're joining us for the ride. So, on that note, all right, here we go. In 1955, Mao Zedong introduced his 17-point agriculture policy. Contained within that was the seeds of a campaign designed specifically to get rid of animals that were harmful to people and crops. This particular policy was called the Four Pests campaign. The policy was soon to be the cause of one of the worst incidents in human history, and I can't overstress that. The pests were, and I'm going to list them out for you: rats, flies, mosquitoes, and sparrows.
Okay, so the first three, I feel like we can all pretty much agree. Pests.
Oh
How
yeah,
the
I
fuck
mean,
are
like,
sparrows pests?
fuck a mosquito, dude. Yeah, that's a good question actually. I think we're gonna figure out the answer to that. I do. Still, it makes no sense to me. But let's do a little background here. Uh, Mao's China at that time was unveiling a set of policies that they called the Great Leap Forward, which was supposed to be a massive undertaking to make the country better. And the Forward Pest policy was originally introduced just kind of as a hygiene campaign because they were concerned about crop yields and disease like malaria. Animals considered harmful to crops and that were suspected of carrying the disease were targeted for large scale extermination. So, what do you think about that?
It sounds reasonable at first,
I mean, we're
Give,
going to war with the mosquitoes.
yeah, which,
That can't be
I
bad, right?
full support on that. Fuck a mosquito.
Yeah, I'm fully in support of getting rid of all the mosquitoes.
Uh, as
Although
far
I'm one of
as
those people that they don't bite that much, oddly enough.
See, me neither, but also when they do, it fucking sucks. So I am fine with just if we can find out,
Yeah,
like,
the one bite I get every month in the summertime or whatever, it like swells up like a baseball. But um, so yeah, on the note of you mentioned sparrows, sparrows are particularly targeted. The reason why is because they were blamed for eating grain crops and just kind of reducing agricultural yield just as a whole. China at the
see,
time
I feel
was in
like
debt to the Soviet Union. Go ahead.
if they're targeting grain crops, they're sparrows. I feel like the smart play is to just set up kind of a faux field, just a small field with the grain in it, and then just hunt them bitches to have extra food. Like, I feel like that's the smart play here. No, like,
It does, or I'm kind of leaning toward what do they call it? A scarecrow. That could
oh, you know what?
that
Actually, yeah,
could
that would probably
that could
work
maybe
too.
that could maybe work, and we don't even need a real one from like the horror movie. Just one that just stands there. I think it'd probably be fun.
That sounds way less convoluted than my plan.
It really does. I feel like there were a lot simpler answers than what we're about to get into here.
Well, you know what?
So again,
Mao Zedong, if you're listening from whatever hell you're in currently, you should have hit
oh,
me
he's in
up.
hell for sure. Hit me up, save me a room.
I would have been a great
And so,
Sparrow advisor. Just throw rocks
oh,
at him.
absolutely, Sparrow advisor. You're the only one with glasses. You know what I
Just,
mean?
just throw rocks at
Um,
them if they're in the field. That'll get them away.
so again, China at the time they were in debt to Soviet Union, the USSR, because the Soviet Union had sent them a bunch of pre-assembled like industrial factories, like full factories, and set those factories up for them. And so at this point, China was trying to pay them back for that debt. And at this point, they're just mass exporting grain just to try to cover that debt. And they're also exporting it all over the world just so they look prominent. Because remember, the Great Leap Forward was supposed to make the entire country better. So the focus on the agriculture part was the main reason I think that they're going after these, like, super like dangerous birds. The policy
Yeah, everybody knows
became known.
sparrows, dangerous birds.
Oh, they're fucking terrible, dude.
They're all felons.
The policy became known as the Eliminate Sparrows campaign, which is, I'm sorry, that's metal as hell, dude. For an official government campaign.
Oh no, it
I can
definitely
get
sounds
behind that.
like
Not what they're doing, but I do like the name.
definitely sounds
Tell me,
like something I would name a metal band at, like, or not a metal band, but a metal album at like the age 13. So I can get behind it.
Yeah, oddly enough, there were a couple bands that are based on this exact thing. There's like a Slaughter Sparrows or something. I can't remember the name of the band, but there's a couple bands that are based on this event for some weird reason. I just found that a weird discovery when I was researching this. So you ask yourself right now, like, everything's going fine, right?
I mean, it sounds like it so far.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's gonna go south very fast, but it sounds like a decent policy plan, at least for now.
You got to have a policy. So, all right, let's lean into this one, right? So officially launched in February 12th of 1958, the For Pest campaign was dutifully carried out by the people of China who was recently converted to communism. In 1949, the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, overthrew the formerly Nationalist Party and seized control of China after 2 long civil wars. Like, it was nasty. By the way, the CCP is kind of like the ICP, because like the ICP doesn't understand how magnets work, and the CCP doesn't understand how fucking anything works.
And as it turns out,
So
a lot of white people don't like either of them, but the few that do are kind of fucking crazy.
facts. This is kind of cool though. After 1940 or 1949, yeah, Beijing got designated as the capital, so that became the thing we know now. China adopted the Gregorian calendar, because before they had been using their own calendar. The 5-star red flag that's so famous, the Tiananmen Square one, that's where that came from. And it was kind of their national identity from then on out. So, we got a couple of historical events out of there that are notable. But after this, focus, with the Great Leap Forward, focus started to shift a little bit away from agriculture as their main, like, focus, and more towards like an industrial model, because Mao thought that industrialism was the way to beat everybody in the world at everything.
Well, that and
And
they were in
I,
debt to Russia already for all those pre-built
I
factories, so
feel,
they were like, fuck it, let's just outsource it.
I feel like the fact that you're robbing Peter to pay Paul there, first of all, is probably not a great idea. Second of all, he's not technically wrong, which I think in this entire story is probably the only thing that he got right.
Well,
So
to be fair, he did start outsourcing his labor costs to the Chinese citizens before America did, so he was a step ahead there at least.
that is hilarious. Yeah. No, he really did. Yeah, he was ahead of his time on that. They're right here. Let's just use them. So the focus began to shift from the more toward an industrial model, and farther away from like the traditional, because China had been agrarian forever. Like, China was a farming nation.
It sounds to me like they probably should have just stayed a farming nation. It sounds like it
It
probably
seems
would have
like,
worked out well in the long run.
I'm thinking farming nation scarecrows. We've solved a lot here already, and we're not even politicians or like policymakers, right? We're just 2 stupid podcasters.
Yeah, right.
Um,
I didn't even
right?
graduate high school. Like,
I barely did. I did, but I quit college, man. I ain't gonna lie about that. So once that change happened, farmers typically lived on like communal farms in rural China, and these farms were essentially, what they did is, like, you had private land, your private farm. The government came in and said you can't do that anymore. You got to be in a commune. And when I say commune, I mean 10,000 to 20,000 people in a commune. So now you got
that's just called a city.
19,999 roommates
That's just a
that shared
town. That's
everything. Like, they literally took pots and melted them down so they had the bare minimum number of pots to service 20,000 people. So they could
What
melt it
number of
down and make
pots is
steel and
that?
export it. I don't know. That's a lot of pot, bro.
Definitely
I
more
don't know,
than
man.
5. Like
I've got a friend
that's
that I could call and he'd be like, it's 440 sags. So I don't know how to measure that, man. I'm not that guy. So by 58, when this policy was really starting, because the years that are notable here are 58 to 62, 58 to 60, but 62. So by 58, the farms, they did the agricultural collectivization. The private farming was ruled out. Anybody that didn't like this, it usually wasn't really good for them. They typically were labeled as counter-revolutionaries or right-wingers, right-wing sympathizers. So, I mean, I guess MAGA folks probably wouldn't have done very well over there. That's all I'm saying.
well,
Um,
they're barely doing good over here.
yeah, right. So now we get into forced labor. Forced labor is basically where it's. I'm gonna say legalized slavery, but I don't even think they needed a law for it.
It's called the
You know what I
prison
mean? When the
system,
government
thank
comes in
you.
and it's just like, you're gonna do this. What?
I said it's called the prison system, thank you. You know.
It pretty much is, yeah. It's like people making license plates all day. So that became normal. Anybody that spoke out or whatever, they had this thing that they called a struggle session. And what a struggle session was, is where they would, anybody considered a counter-revolutionary or a right-winger, particularly a heavy right-winger, would be publicly humiliated, beaten, tortured, sometimes like literally to death, be covered in like urine and feces. It was essentially the tarring and feathering in public. But the messed up part about it is typically this was done by people closest to you, members of your own family. You know, your cousin was out there because he believed in the CCP so much that literally you're just a number. And that to me is kind of messed up. You know what I mean?
The
Because I
further we
mean,
get
even
into
slavery wasn't
this,
like, even like American slavery wasn't like that.
you're right.
I mean, I'm sure there are examples. Don't come at me, but if you have one, please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it.
The further we get
So with
into
that,
this, the more it sounds like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like I'm just waiting for some dude to show up and
it's
start licking Selma Hayek's feet.
right. It starts as Pulp Fiction, but ends as Idiocracy. So I'm just going to spoil it for you. Um, that's the best way I could probably put that. And so what happened then is they enacted production quotas, which is what you have to go pick or harvest this much grain in a day. They
And as we
used
all
that.
know, quotas work great every time, so I'm sure this doesn't lead to any bad things.
No, dude, no, everybody's going to fulfill their quota, right? I mean, you go to work every day and you're like, I'm here to do my job, man.
I'm here to get exactly 10
Right?
grains.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. I think you're getting ahead of me here. But so they replaced money with a quota system. So the more you produce, the more you eat. So what they didn't take into account there is pregnant women, the elderly, small children, those type of people,
Money anyway.
No, but hey, they were out there, which is again one of the messed up parts about this to me. So I don't think there's anything funny about that part, but like, yeah. So the whole point of the Great Leap Forward was to have a population that wasn't supported or like assisted by the government in any way whatsoever. So the government just wanted people to produce, be happy citizens, and give them everything that they produced, with them doing nothing in return to pave roads, medicine, nothing. So nothing's coming back. Everything's going out. That sounds like, I don't know, a bad marriage, man. I don't know.
Sounds like a 13-year-old's idea of running a country.
Right, right, right. And keep in mind, Mao Zedong was a notorious chain smoker. So I literally just picture him just standing there, like just chain smoking. and people are telling him this is a bad idea, and he's just not listening. Like, he doesn't care
He's like, I'm sorry, can you
because
say
all
that
he cares
again? I
about.
couldn't hear you over the sound of my lighter. Like,
No, yeah. Hold on. On that note, anyone who smokes, let's light up. And so that was kind of a weird thing that the chain smoking was funny to me. I don't know why, but like that was a farming front. On the industrial front, it was just as ridiculous actually. So they took farmers, which they already had people that weren't able to produce, right? And they moved them into the industrialization part, which in this case was what they call backyard furnaces. What a backyard furnace is basically like a brick oven, kind of like a rocket stove, but at a super high temperature.
right.
And so what you have is just some guy who used to be a farmer with his one blacksmithing skill trying to make iron out of rocks that they found. It's like early Warcraft, I guess.
Well, blacksmithing and ore refining is notoriously the easiest job out there. And the
Yeah, I
safest.
mean, I think there's like ironing your clothes and then blacksmithing. That's the number. That's how I would put them in order. So the problem with this was, like I said, poor source material, poor oven, poor blacksmith. Usually, what came out of that is what they call pig iron. Pig iron was basically it had such a high like silica content and such a high carbon content that it came out just so brittle it was really unusable for anything. So all that work, all them moving, all them people was just producing nothing. And they tried to tell him at this point, hey, this is not working. And he's just over there pulling on a cool. You know what I'm saying? I figure him more as a Newport guy.
See, I figured he
I
would
guess
smoke
back in
like
58
Eagle
or
20s.
no, 58 it'd probably be Lucky Strikes, I'd guess.
Actually, yeah, no. I can see Mao Zedong just ripping fucking packs of Lucky Strikes and being like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
what? If you're iron
You
shit,
know what I'm
that
saying?
just means you
Like,
need to
like
get better.
packing him on his shoulder like they did in the 50s.
He's got a pack in his sleeve rolled up like some sort of
Exactly, yeah.
fucking greaser. Like,
His hair slicked back with one behind his ear.
to be
So
fair, they could use that
this was
shit
interesting.
iron
This
they're
was just a
making to throw
yeah,
it
it's a
at the
weird fact I
sparrows.
discovered. Because remember, we still got the Sparrows thing going. That hadn't even really kicked off yet. They're
Again,
just thinking about it right now.
just get somebody to look at the field and throw rocks at the birds. I feel like that's the simplest solution.
You know what? I like your solution. I like your solution. I
And
do.
they're making enough shit
But one
metal,
little
they'll
fact
have an
I
infinite
discovered.
supply. Like,
Now, I'm pretty sure they had a pretty infinite supply of shit metal at that point. So I learned this, which was just a weird trivia fact. The term "sweat like a pig" actually comes from that. It comes from China because the iron that came out of that, the ingot, they called a pig. And when you pull it out of the blast furnace, the dew point around it would drop and it would start to form moisture on it, so it looked like the ingot was sweating. And it was called a pig, so hence the term "sweat like a pig." I never knew that, man. So
after all
I
this
learned
time,
something researching this.
you've got a point. I never even thought about it. I'm pretty sure pigs don't even sweat. I could be wrong about
I just
that, but
always
I've never
assumed it
seen a
was like
pig
a
sweat.
pig. I've heard that, but I always assumed it was like a pig about to be led to slaughter. You know what I mean? Like sweating like a pig. But nope, that's where it comes from. So there you go, dropping knowledge bombs on
Oh,
everybody.
turns out pigs do not sweat in any meaningful way. So, I guess that, yeah.
Hmm. And so with the growing threat of the sparrows out there just rampaging all the crops, and the fact that they had moved a bunch of the farmers into the industrial sector to make this fantastic metal that they're making, that's why at the time the Eliminate Sparrows campaign. Man, I wish I had a soundbite for that. The Eliminate Sparrows campaign. We we really need to edit that in post.
Some
It just
Mortal
seemed more
Kombat
necessary at
ass.
the time, right? Eliminate Sparrows campaign.
Scorpion wins.
And now we're going to get into that particular policy, the Eliminate Sparrows campaign, and that's where you should cue metal guitar. Sometimes referred to as the Smash Sparrows campaign. Interesting.
Well, hold on.
The Smash Sparrows. I love how they just go right to it. You know what I mean? It was
There's just
initially inspired.
see, hit them with a rock, it'll smash them. Or if you miss, they'll fly
Wait,
away. My rock idea is looking like a
but this
great
next
fucking
point I have a
idea the
question
further
on.
we go.
Right? So it was initially like thought it was an idea because in 1955 there were farmers complaining about sparrows eating their crops,
Right.
and they considered it a real legitimate threat. And so by the end of 1957, which keep in mind, 58's where we start to go really downhill, they had fully implemented the campaign. And so their response to that was Sparrow Suppression Headquarters was established across China to meet the growing avian threat. I don't even know what that building is.
I
That
I
building
just
is that building is why.
I imagined it's shaped like just a fucking grain of wheat. Just got a big fucking sign on it.
There's just like a sparrow and no head.
It's got a statue out front. It's just a dead sparrow with some
You know
Chinese
what I mean? Like
farmer
you're walking down the
standing
street.
over
There's
it.
the tax office. There's the commissary.
Oh, honey, I gotta go
There's
to the
a
DMV
sparrow.
today. Oh, where is it? Oh,
Yeah.
right by the building with the giant fucking bird on it. It's, yeah, right next to that.
That's awesome. Um, so in 1957, an article came out in the Beijing Daily, which is, of course, their newspaper, written by at the time, the Vice Minister of Education. And the title of it was Sparrows Are Clearly Pest Birds. And he went on to write that, and I quote, pest birds should be eliminated without hesitation.
You know, if it weren't birds we were talking about, this would sound like a certain famous Austrian man.
Kind of, yeah. No, yeah, it kind of reminds me. It's sort of the same approach to the sparrows, isn't it? Oh no, you're about to find out. I think they're on the same page. Here's an example, and this was taken from the wiki page. So don't quote me if it's wrong, but like what this article actually said. And I'm going to bore you for a second, but here's what he said: Society has changed, but some of the old ways of thinking and viewpoints still remain. In the past, many people saw themselves as subservient subjects of nature, afraid to even consider transforming it, let alone see themselves as masters of nature. The concept of equilibrium has also hindered people's determination to nature, to transform nature. Equilibrium only emphasizes the static aspect, ignoring the fact that biological history is a process. Belief in equilibrium instills a fear that nature would descend into chaos if it lost its balance. That's from the Vice Minister of Education, apparently the smartest man, second smartest man in their education system.
Well, I thought America's education system was bad, but
Hey, I'd never heard of this, so you got a point there. Dude, I feel like Charlie Day from Always Sunny would be all over this with his bird law.
I
You
practice
know what I mean?
bird
That's all we
law.
need is, yeah, we just need Charlie to come wandering in here and talk to Mao about this shit.
Start being a lawyer for the
So
sparrows.
I do want to note that Mao Zedong was a staunch anti-intellectual. Like he hated nerds, like hated nerds. The idea of anybody being smarter than him was condemning. You were in trouble if you thought you were smarter than him.
You know,
So it kind of makes sense why this dumbass is saying what he's saying, because it's almost like he put stupid people in charge. Yeah, I don't know.
it's
I just feel like they have a fundamental misunderstanding of how like the world works.
not just the world, but birds in general. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if we were to put a sparrow on trial, it'd be very easy to just be like, Your Honor, my client here is being prosecuted on an
He's
unfair stereotype.
he's sweating, Your Honor. I feel like that sparrow's a nerd. So yeah. So the newspapers, as you do, started escalating and started using more military sounding headlines, such as, and I quote, deploying troops, preparing weapons, and gearing up. The Sparrow Army awaits the final assault.
This is starting to sound a lot like the Emu War, and if, memory serves me
Doesn't it?
correct, they lost that war, so
They did lose that war. Also, I could see having a gun down 10,000 emus. You know what I mean? Like
emus are fucking
they're gonna mess
vicious
up your
and big.
neighborhood.
Sparrows, I
Yeah,
feel
but
like you could kill a sparrow if you just look at it hard enough. Like, I don't.
we're getting to that. We're gonna find out exactly what happened here.
Just give a bunch of
So yeah,
bored kids a slingshot with some shit metal and see what they can do. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, we'll take some of this pig iron or whatever. We'll slingshot it at them. The At the time they wrote songs about it because when they were in the fields, all the music they listened to was propaganda music
Well, you know,
given to them by the government.
it's the CCP. You
It,
gotta have a little
which
propaganda here and now, or else it wouldn't be
no
the CCP.
ICP, CCP. I wonder if they even had like a good DJ. You know what I mean? So lyrics to a folk song that was popular at the time went like this, and again I quote: "Rats are sly, sparrows bad, and mosquitoes are like right wingers." Hold on, and mosquitoes are like right wingers. They suck blood, steal joy, and destroy. Let every family move quickly. Beat drums and gongs to eliminate the four pests. So that's a lyric to a song that's playing in the fields while you're out there working.
You know, the mosquitoes are like right wingers line is pretty obviously true.
Oh no, they're talking about sparrows. Sparrows are like right wingers.
Oh,
They suck
sparrows.
blood, steal joy, and destroy. And I love how they just immediately assume that all right wingers are vampires. You
I
know, energy
I mean,
vampires and destructive.
have you seen the state of right wing politics? I wouldn't be surprised.
You're right.
Fucking
But
Stephen
I mean, it's
Miller
China,
looks
man.
like
Everything could be backwards.
Nosferatu.
I don't even
Like,
know. Yeah, maybe Mao was a vampire. I don't know. I don't think that's fact, but my
uh,
personal favorite one out of all of these like excerpts from lyrics and poems and newspapers is one that was published at the time that reads like this. And again, I quote, you ready for this? Somebody actually said this. "You're a real bastard, bird, jumping around with your heirs. You committed crimes for thousands of years. Today, we will finally settle accounts with you. Beating, bombing, and plundering, setting it all ablaze."
and next on the radio from your boy DJ Sparrow Killer.
I just love it. It's like it reminds me of was it White House was like, "Come on, Pookie, let's burn this motherfucker down." You know what I mean? Like, let's just burn everything. I hate sparrows.
We're gonna bomb the sparrows.
This is just so ludicrous to me. I love it. So more than 200 scientists, some of them prominent and highly like respected, participated in this campaign actively. So they were showing the people that this was what you do. And it was estimated that over 2 million sparrows were killed in 1958 alone.
Good
So
God.
they started a mass extermination, like I said earlier.
How
And
many
so
fucking
them
sparrows are even in China? Like 2,000,001? There's like one sparrow left. Like, what the fuck?
man, he's lucky if there is. So how he did it was Mao Zedong mobilized every citizen in China above the age of 5 to wage war on the sparrow population. And
Okay.
like an actual army, the school children would wander the countryside during designated hours of the day hunting sparrows.
This is just like the fucking Chinese version of the war on squirrels we had in America. What the fuck's going on here? What?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh,
I think ours went a lot better. So one child said, and this is a quote from a child, like a grown man, obviously, that said, "It was fun to wipe out the four pests. The whole school went to kill sparrows. We made ladders to knock down their nests and beat gongs in the evening when they were coming home to roost." So he remembers it fondly. Like, I mean, dude got out of school to go, like, kill sparrows.
they just sound like shitty apartment neighbors. Like,
Like the worst, yeah.
they're just stomping around in the floor above you to make sure you don't fall asleep type shit. Like, they're just.
You know, and you were like, you should take a slingshot in addition to killing them by hand, which I find fascinating that somebody's that fast.
Yeah, who the fuck's
Here's what they
catching
use.
sparrows? Get that
And
motherfucker in
again,
the
this is from the
actual
wiki.
military.
Here's the methods that they would use to dispatch sparrows: glue traps, net traps, poison bait, poles, wire clamps, wire cages, bamboo poles, red flags,
Oh,
firecrackers,
oh, hold on.
stones.
Red
What?
flags? They're
I'm not sure what the hell that would do. Yeah.
Are they just
Yeah, no, I was
fucking?
going to get back to that one
They're
because
just like
that makes
tarping
no
it
sense.
over them and then just fucking suffocate. How do you kill a bird with a
The only
flag?
thing I can figure is that they were so proud of their new 5-star flag, they just waved it at him and thought it did something. That's the only thing I can come up with there.
That's why we
You know
made
what I
it
mean?
red so
They're
we
going to.
could kill sparrows with it. You won't see the blood. It's perfect.
That's genius, actually.
If
All
one of the
right,
5
so
stars turns
red
red, you got to
flags.
get a new flag though, or else
Yeah,
you're gonna be executed in town square.
yeah. Once you reach all 5 stars full, all the sparrows are gone.
Cover all 5 stars
Firecrackers,
in
which
blood, and you
seems
get a
really
free
fun.
smoothie.
Because I just imagine them throwing firecrackers at them. Stones, obviously, with slingshots.
I see. Look,
Gongs. Yep, yep. No, you're onto something, man. Megaphones, wash basins,
okay,
air
bullshit. You're not
guns,
killing a
and
fucking sparrow with a megaphone. You might be
I was
moving it
wondering
out
if
of
you
the
would catch
tree,
that.
but
Like, how in the hell are you gonna kill the sparrow?
you're just doing
I
bird
invite you to
calls through the
try, dude.
megaphone, and then when it gets close enough, you're fucking hitting it like King DDD with a hammer. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, we could take a whole Saturday afternoon. I'll pay you to come out and try to kill a sparrow at the wash basin as long as I can sit and just have a drink and watch it. Air guns, and finally, scarecrows.
Again, you're not
It
killing
makes
a
no
bird with
sense
a
to me
scarecrow.
whatsoever. But it's, farmers have been doing that forever, man. You know what I mean? It keeps birds away sometimes, not always. So the sparrows, in response to all this gonging and slingshot and then red flagging, maybe they were offended by the red flags. I don't know. They started to like they started to like gather in foreign embassies in Beijing, right? So in one case, they took shelter in the Polish embassy, and when the
Oh,
citizens, all these,
goddamn.
keep in mind,
If it isn't the
five
Polish
year old
here to
children.
ruin something else.
Oh man, yeah. No, the Polish are the heroes in the story for me. So you got 5 year old kids outside with slingshots and gongs and megaphones and wash basins. They show up to kill the sparrows, but the Polish are like, "No, you're not getting in here, man." So what do you think they did? What would you do if you
Oh,
were
okay.
China and you're
If
like,
I'm taking a
you know
guess,
what? There's a bunch of birds in that Polish embassy. We got to do something about that.
eh, based on the track record they currently have, I'm gonna assume it's something absolutely fucking brain dead. So I'm gonna go with they firebomb the fucking embassy. That's my guess.
Well, I mean, according to the newspaper, or that song or whatever. That's probably what they should do. So for 2 days following, the citizens surrounded the embassy and they beat drums constantly for 48 hours straight. Could you imagine?
I think I'd
I mean,
actually just
I
fucking
like
kill
Dakota
myself.
drummers as much as the
Like,
next guy, but okay, first of all, you got a dude that they pulled from the farm or whatever out here. He doesn't know how to play drums. I feel like Animal would have been useful here.
just like some poor Chinese farmer slash metal worker just smacking the shit out of a drum.
She's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna go play drums in Beijing, man. My dream. So what ended up happening was the Polish and the MC ended up having to use shovels to clear out all the dead sparrows because that did in fact work somehow.
I fucking I okay, yeah, no. Of course it did.
Yeah,
Why
no,
wouldn't it?
I know. I've got the same question,
No,
my
if the
friend.
red
I do.
flags are working, I'm not surprised anymore. Of course that
Yeah,
fucking
what the
works
hell's wrong with
somehow.
these sparrows? Maybe
If it
they should have been getting rid of them if they're getting killed by a red flag and wash basins. Maybe there's something wrong with the sparrows. You know what I mean? Maybe they're onto something here.
they've got to be like the worst sparrows. The sparrows are made as cheaply as the fucking metal at this point. That's my best guess.
They're just poorly manufactured. I got you. Yeah, they're made out of pig iron. So out of the four that I mentioned earlier, the four campaigns, right? The mosquitoes, the rats, the flies, and the sparrows. The only one that was really successful at all was the mosquitoes one, and that actually is probably, from what I read, the only decent policy that came out of the Great Leap Forward. I mean, at least with respect to the four pests part of it, is they actually did reduce the mosquito population because they just pesticided the hell out of everything. Which, just spray it with Lysol, man. The rats and the flies, marginal, no real, nothing. So
I feel
then
like it's easier to kill
we get
rats
the
than it is to
sparrows.
kill sparrows, but maybe I'm just not as enlightened as Mao Zedong.
I feel like you're 100% right.
I mean, they kind of, they don't
I feel
fucking
like your list
fly.
of tools with rats. Yeah, your list of like killing tools with rats is like a mouse trap. I
Or,
don't know. Some rats get pretty big.
a decently big stick. Like, that's
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like that would work. You know what I mean?
a boot. Like, this.
So the sparrows, on the other hand, they got reduced to almost extinct completely in just a really short amount of time. So this campaign of everybody band together to kill sparrows across the entire nation of China was very effective.
I
So
I think
what
I'm
do you
more
think's going to
pissed
happen
that
here?
it worked, honestly. I'm more upset that it worked with
That's again, I think that's the only policy in this entire story that actually did work, and it's the one that they shouldn't have done
that fucking
because
insane. But okay.
at the time, locusts, without one of their main predators, the population exploded.
Oh boy.
And what you get is swarms that devastated what little crops were left, making everything worse.
Now, if I
So
remember correctly,
I figured
uh
that like the Bible, only
if I
more Chinese.
remember correctly, the people on the frontier in America were using fucking shotguns to fight off locust swarms and didn't fucking do their job good
Oh no,
because
no. Again,
fucking
it's a
locust
biblical
swarms.
event.
So,
Yeah, wasn't it one of the biblical events or whatever? Like the
I believe so,
I
but
can't remember what it's called right now.
one of the plagues for the Pharisees.
Yeah, no, the plagues. Yeah, yeah, it was the river ran red, all that
And
stuff.
then there were a bunch of
So the
frogs, and then the fireballs. Yeah, yeah.
the frogs just seems weird to me.
Yeah, right? Like, who gives a fuck? It's a frog. Just kick it. I don't. like,
Well, no, I go outside and I'm looking. I'm like, oh man, there's frogs everywhere. Like, am I
you know,
tripping?
it
Like,
seems like it'd
no, no,
be
I'm good, man.
a lot
This just
easier
seems
to
like a weird Tuesday.
feel like it'd be a lot easier to kill a frog than something like, oh, I don't know, a sparrow. I'm just
Yeah,
spitballing here,
especially
but
if you're armed with a firecracker.
or a wash basin. Even you could just smack the shit out of it with it. Like, I feel like
And so I feel like here's where I'm going to explain kind of what happened and why, like, the locusts just devastated everything because this is the idiocracy part. This is they might as well have been putting Brondo on the crops, man. So
I mean, it's got electrolytes. That's what plants crave. So
yeah, they did
sounds
two
like this is
things that
gonna
were
go good
notable,
then.
right? I mean, wait, from like the toilet, they did a thing that they called close planting, where they would plant like up to 6 times as many seeds in the same hole, but they would put them close together, and so you're clustering all your seeds right close together.
It's like having
Um,
children in the 1800s. You just have 7 of them, so one
just
survives.
right, right. Just yes, the buckshot approach. Just one of them's gonna make it. The other thing that they did was called deep plowing, where like if you normally dug,
I
you
think I've
plow
looked that
six
up
inches
before.
deep. No, yeah, I think I've seen that video. But like where it was normally 6 inches, just for example, they would plow that thing to like 18 inches because they thought the deeper you get in the earth, the better the soil's going to be, right?
Well, I
And so
mean,
they would
yeah.
take all these seeds, close plant them together in a much deeper hole, and as you can imagine, that probably didn't work because the seeds just get buried and
You're
compete with
telling me
each other for.
planting the crops wrong didn't actually make them better?
Like I'm not building out a science guy over here, man. You know what I mean? So I couldn't explain
Look,
farming to you, but I'm pretty
I've
sure that doesn't work.
I've grown a few plants in my life. I'm not an
Oh, have you
expert
now?
or anything, but I'm pretty sure if the sprout only comes up like I don't know, so fucking 6 inches or so, planting them 18 fucking inches into the ground's probably not going to do any good for them.
Yeah, because even if it grows, I think it's probably gonna die.
It's gonna
I
come
think
out
you're
like
onto
the
something there.
Quasimodo of wheat, just all hunched over and fucking disheveled.
just just headed for a bell tower. But
It comes out of the ground going,
so
"Yes, mister." Like,
right, the other thing that hurt them a lot was the the seizure of like grain from the communes. So the government would come and like take your grain. So all these large communal farms are remember they're doing quotas. So they're
you
out
know,
there
during
literally
all
trying
the
to kill
sparrow
themselves.
killing, I completely forgot that they were growing crops for the government and not themselves.
Yes, exactly. And so the government comes and takes pretty much all of it to send to the city to support the industrial population because that's where Mao's large anti-intellectual fucking entourage or whatever lived, and that hurt him because you're just You got an underwhelming farming force. You got underwhelming crops. Now you got locusts, and they're taking everything and still shipping it out because they don't want to lose face from the rest of the world, which is just mind-boggling to me.
You know,
I don't
I feel
understand it.
like if you don't want to lose face in front of the world, you don't declare wars on birds. Like, that seems like
I
the
mean, come
simple
on, you need a
solution to
war
me.
though, right?
Yeah, but go like invade
I
the Middle
mean,
East or something respectable, not birds. Like,
like we're doing right now. That's crazy. But one of the other things that like contributed to it to make it even worse than things already were was the government was falsifying the numbers because Mao expected a certain amount, like period, and so they would lie and say they got that amount when in fact they got a lot less than that. So their numbers, their government numbers or whatever, were way higher than what they actually had,
you're
and
telling
so
me
they're just
China's
exporting them.
inflating numbers? I never would have fucking
Uh
guessed that in
huh.
a million years.
I
That's
know, right? I told you that.
insane.
It is. It is. And then just exporting just cheaply made products to the rest of the world. Yeah, yeah, no, that happened. It's just, I don't know, man. Again, I don't understand it. And we already talked about the fact that they took the farmers and made them level one blacksmiths to
Well,
produce
a-
pretty well literally nothing.
any uneducated farmer can make metal. Everybody knows that.
I mean, that's how it works in Skyrim, right? Got to start
I mean,
somewhere.
yeah, you just fucking smack an ingot on an anvil enough times it becomes a dagger, and then all of a sudden you can make armor out of dragon bone. It's that quick.
Facts. So we're getting to, you know, close to where things just went really, really badly. And the end of like our story as far as the Four Pest campaign, because the Four Pest campaign was pretty effective when it came to the Sparrows. Um, in 1958, the Yellow River flooded, and it was a bad flood. What what caused it was not only the rain, but dams that were built to hold that water back. But guess what? Guess what they were made out of?
I'm gonna go with very high quality materials.
I like where your head's at. Yeah, no, that's totally correct. No, it was the generic version.
Ah, damn.
So 700,000 people got flooded out. More than a half million acres of farmland was destroyed. So now you got locusts, you got shortage, you got dumbass planting. Now you
So
got flooding.
they've got locust swarms and a flood. I'm starting to think they did piss off God. I don't.
If they didn't, they're really working on it, man. And
They
what's
like.
interesting that when you say that, here's a weird fact I discovered doing this. I think it was called the Taiping dynasty. Was before this, and it was kind of trippy, dude, because the guy that founded that basically thought he was the brother of Jesus Christ.
You
Like he had a
know,
vision where he talked.
as
Hold on, he talked to Jesus and he talked to God, and they all decided that he was the brother of Jesus Christ and that he needed to bring Christianity to China.
well,
And
as
so when they did
all
that,
sane leaders do.
yeah, I do feel like we need to think about that for a minute. Brother Jesus Christ, he's like the brother from another mother. I almost find it offensive that Mary Magdalene was that promiscuous. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Just seems weird
Complete
to me.
virgin had
Anyway,
more than one child. Starting to think something in that
but
story isn't
I can
lining
only
up correctly.
assume that they ended up in the manger from the Silk Road. You know what I mean? But
It
sorry,
still
that's messed up.
boggles my mind that they were fucking just artificially pissing off God. And
Mm-hmm. Over and over, and it's like the whole time I was just standing here smoking cigarettes. Like that is insane to me. So basically, it
Mr.
kind of became a
Zedong, the
perfect
fields are
storm.
flooded, the locusts are swarming. What should we do?
Nerds, you know what I mean?
Get
That's
me
what he
another
just like he
pack,
hates nerds
bitch.
so much.
Like,
Do you have glasses on, bitch? Take them off. Again, I find that anti-intellectual thing that's like the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
well, smart people
Um,
know when things are going bad. You can't have smart people in the country, or else they'll realize you're a piece of shit.
oh, definitely, definitely. So obviously, I think we're getting to the part of the story where people start starving, and that got pretty bad. I'm not going to go into all of the details, but basically, You had families fighting each other for food. People were eating leaves. Like if your digestive system could handle eating leaves like a koala, then you'd survive. But if you couldn't, if your body just couldn't do it, then you're probably going to starve to death.
You know, something tells me that most people could not process the leaves.
Nope, nope. But they were. Hey, hold on. We got variety, man. We got a whole buffet. We're eating bark.
Oh, hey,
Um,
that's some high quality shit.
I I saw one account where they were eating charcoal because it doesn't have any nutritional value, but at least it makes your stomach stop hurting for a second.
Hey,
Which
you
this whole
know,
idea of starving to death like this is horrifying to me. And then there
you,
was a type of mud that they would eat, and it didn't have hardly any nutritional value, but it was filling. And what would end up happening is, I mean, what do you think happens when you eat a bunch of mud?
I
You you
no
get
idea.
clogged up
Oh well, yeah.
and you die a horrible death, like a
Well, you
very
know,
painful, slow. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine.
that's I. It sounds like to me they probably should have been eating. I don't know, maybe the fucking sparrows they were killing.
It's something. I mean, they killed 2 million of them. I mean,
Look, sparrows
uh,
are small, sure, but 2 million—that's enough for at least 3 people. Like,
I think it would be a little sparrow breast would be better than bark or like
or
constipation mud. You
fucking
know what I mean?
charcoal. Like,
Yeah. What, you ain't never ate charcoal?
I never said that. All right.
So again, people were hiding food from each other. I mean, people were killed over food. Um, as a result of the Great Leap Forward in this particular policy, people starved. And I'm just going to ask you, how many do you think that was?
Okay, let's see. The
And keep
fields
in
are
mind,
fucked.
this number is not based entirely on the sparrows. There were a lot of factors that went into it. I'm not getting into all those. Today's focus is the sparrows. But
So
what you think that number was?
the fields are fucked. There's locust swarms. People are, starving to death and eating mud. I'm gonna go with 5,000. Actually, no, China's a big
45
country.
million.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well,
45 million people. Yeah. And there's a lot of like debate on that number. What I find funny about that is there's estimates as high as 55 million that I saw. But Mao's estimate and the number that he put on paper was 5 million. I went with the 45 million because there's a guy that is a scholar of the subject. His name is Frank DeCotter, and he's a chair professor of humanities at the University of Hong Kong. And like, this is so cool to me. I don't know why, but this is what scholar power does for you. He actually got to go into the archives, like the party archives, where they kept all the records of actual numbers and actual accounts and letters and all that stuff. Right before the Beijing Olympics, because in his words, they were feeling like generous and like open to the world, right? And so he actually got a chance to go in and look at actual documentation and paperwork. And his estimate was 45 million. So that's why I'm going with that.
I would trust the
Um,
account of the dude who got to see the records over most people,
yeah, and
I
there's
would say.
speculation. People argue that his number's wrong, that he didn't take this into account. Like, you know how scholars argue with each other.
I
So,
will say I trust his numbers more than I trust Mao Zedong's numbers at the very least.
for real, yeah, no, I think there's a huge difference between those two. I feel like one of them is trying to lie a little bit, and the other one, you know. So
One of them's trying to
if
save
this,
face, and the other one's going, "Damn, a lot of motherfuckers died." Like,
and I just kind of enjoyed that whole like lecture. So we're gonna put a link down in the comments of a lecture from Frank DeCotter that explains this in a lot more accurate and scholarly sort of way, but kind of in a way that's easy to digest. And like, I really enjoyed that video. So I mean, if this is at all interesting to you, man, check it out because that guy deserves props. So basically, what happened after that was people started to realize maybe killing the sparrows wasn't a good idea. Keep in mind, Mao's
really?
still smoking. Yeah, no, Mao's still over there smoking. Got his lucky strikes.
If Mao Zedong was alive today, I feel like he'd be an Edgefield enjoyer.
I feel like it'd be a neck beard.
Oh,
I say that
100%.
every episode, though.
He'd be like a
Yeah.
moderator
So,
on a subreddit about fucking sparrows
oh
or some
God,
shit, like
yes, you
just
were.
banning anybody who says anything good about sparrows. Like fucking
Yeah, let's
r slash
CCP.
fuck sparrows. Like
Experience. That's amazing. But so things started to change after the famine because I mean, 45 million people died. That number is mind-boggling. And so they shifted more then from that big communal farm thing, and they were like, you know what, private farms are probably a good idea now. Let's let every little farmer manage his own sparrow fucking shit. Now that there's none of them left, they actually imported sparrows into China from Russia. So remember Russia
okay, well
when they brought them to
hold
factories
on.
in the first
Okay,
place?
hold on. Hold on. So they're in debt to Russia because of pre-made factories they're being sent.
Yes.
As they're in debt, they think, let's switch away from our agrarian society that's been working so well and do industrial. And while we're at it, let's kill a bunch of sparrows because they're hurting the crops. Which, by the way, if you're
Mm-hmm.
switching over to industrial fucking labor, it seems like the farming's a moot point at that point. Just get fucking scarecrows. And then
Mm-hmm.
after they kill all the sparrows, and it turns out that was a bad idea, they look to Russia and go, "Hey, you got birds? What the fuck is happening?"
That's exactly what happened. You got Bird. And what's funny is I feel like as gangster as he is, Big Bird would have a problem in the CCP. You know what I mean? I don't think they like him very much. You know, I
I feel
think
like
he
Big
would
Bird's
he
probably
probably
smarter than Mao Zedong. I feel like he'd be
no,
executed on the
Big Bird's going
spot.
to represent West Side, but I don't think he's any match for that political party. Is all I'm saying. And so it did start to rebalance everything again, and things got better. I mean, they got worse again afterwards because Mao Zedong. Um, yeah.
I feel like he was just
So
doing
we
this as an excuse to smoke. Like, he was just like, I need to create some stress so I can have an excuse to smoke 17 packs a day. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, and anybody that I said didn't agree with him or whatever, and there was one guy, and I don't know the names, but he came out later and was like, okay, the sparrow thing was a bad idea. It was this guy's idea, and like literally like publicly humiliated him, and it was bad. The guy ended up dying over it, not because of execution, but in another way. But story for another day. So in the end, our good old buddy Mao Zedong died at the age of 82 years old from multiple heart attacks in succession,
dear God.
probably caused by chain smoking.
Yeah, when
He
was this
died.
again?
He died on September 9th, 1976.
Oh, no. See, it's the 70s. That's when cigarettes were still good for you. So, it can't be the
And just
cigarettes.
between me and you, G, we now got something to celebrate on that day. You know what I'm saying? That day is important to me. I found that interesting, just the coincidence. I was like, should be proud.
You're right.
Uh, so there's a lot more to unpack in this whole thing. But again, just due to time and the fact that there's so many moving parts to it, um, I don't know, man. I just feel like this is a story about consequences when you disrupt like the balance of ecology. And particularly when you got your vice minister of education telling everybody what's going to happen, man. He literally said that. He was like, y'all are scared to upset nature. Like, what is it going to go into chaos? Fucking yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I feel like between this and the emu wars, we can come to the conclusion that waging wars on birds is never a good idea. Like,
No, no, I think we should pick squirrels. I think you're onto something there. I think we won that one. Actually, no, we didn't, but
no, we still lost that, but it didn't
we
go
didn't
as
starve 45 million
catastrophically
people to
bad
do
as
it. You know
these
what I
two.
mean? Right. So basically, I think, like I said, it's a don't mess with nature, and also I think it's a case of where you're like, if your decisions that you make are made out of pride and not out of actual logic, then you're going to end up with a problem. That's all I'm saying.
I don't. There's two countries now that have lost a war on birds. I thought it was just
Mhm.
Australia, but no, China too.
Yeah, but see, Australia lost the war on birds and it was fine. China won the war on birds and 45 million people died. So yeah, I think we just need to leave the birds alone, man. That's
Yeah, I
that's
feel
all I'm
like
saying.
what I'm learning is birds are just harbingers of doom. They just don't fuck with them.
Hmm.
Like,
And it pretty well brings us to the end of our story there. So I mean, at this point, I'm really feeling like I want to go, like, go in that McDonald's here in Mississippi and get myself a cheeseburger and go bird watching.
I I mean, if you do that, you just gotta make sure the voice of Mao Zedong doesn't start talking to you like the Green Goblin mask.
No, he's gonna talk to you like a Denny's waitress in a minute. You know what I mean? Like, oh god, that dude smokes way too many cigarettes.
You want some pancakes, Toots? Like,
Right? In a minute. I've had that said to me so many times. I love it. But yeah, so that's the story of the Great Sparrow Killing Campaign of 1958.
and I
Again, I
feel
feel like
like
scarecrows. I don't feel like you need a 90 weapon list when like scarecrows and shotguns work.
again, just throw rocks at them. Like, it's the simplest
And
solution,
like, yeah,
and it's free.
I mean, and why are you even gonna go after the ones that are trying to hide out? You know what I mean?
Just get the ones at the fields. Like, just throw rocks at them. Either you hit them and they die, or they get scared and fly away. Like, it
Yeah, it
can't
was
go
just
wrong. Like,
fascinating to me. Yeah, how like much propaganda and like I'm gonna see if I can find some of the posters and all that stuff and put them up on our Instagram page just because it's crazy. I mean, like we've done the same thing. Every country does the same thing, but I don't know. They were very colorful, and there's like a kid with a slingshot shooting birds.
see, even the
It
propaganda
it blows
posters
my
agree
mind.
with me. Just throw rocks at them. Like,
Right. All
but
right. So that's our history lesson for today.
well, I can't say I can't say I had a fun time. I definitely had a time, but
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It gives me something to think about. So
well,
I don't know. What do we got in store for coming up, man?
I got a little piece I'm working on about Randy Stare, which that one's
Ooh,
going to be a whole
I don't know
fucking
who that is.
episode. That is,
You'd think I would, but I don't recognize the name.
it's this dude was clearly mentally unwell, like definitely needed some sort of professional help. But dear
Okay.
God, did he make it really easy to make fun of him? Like,
Oh
just
my
to give you
god. I'm gonna.
guys a little peek into a future episode, when he was in like kindergarten, first grade, somewhere in there, he had to put on a play for the parents, like every child in school does. And he hated it to the point where he stood at the back of the stage facing the wall the entire time, and then later said it basically traumatized him for life. Which, like, come on,
Oh.
man. Like, if
Oh, Mr. Sensitive. He's a
look,
cancer, isn't he?
look, I don't think he was.
I don't
You know what?
know, dude.
I don't give a shit. If like,
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, that sounds crazy already. So, um,
it's one of
and what
those
the new episodes are gonna come out on Sunday nights?
Sunday nights, unless there's some sort of hiccup in the schedule, and then possibly Fridays. But we're aiming for Sundays.
Perfect. That works for me, man.
You can also find us on Instagram at You Did This For Why Pod or YouTube at You Did This For Why Cast.
All
We're
right.
also
Well,
on
man, it's been a
Spotify.
pleasure.
I'll leave the links to all three of those in the description, and also the link for that professor's lecture.
Absolutely. Again, that's deep nerd stuff, but if you're into that, it's worth watching for sure.
And you know, coming to the end of this episode, I'd just like to remind everybody that don't fuck with birds, and if you see Mike Vick, tell him he shouldn't have made those dogs fight.
That's damn right. And I think we should end on that. Peace out.